that I
Did
my background next time, and it shows all the old train stops.
Oh,
The
really?
map of the train stops is very cool, and it's sort of vintage. If you don't follow, there's a Washtenaw County history site on Facebook, which I would encourage everybody who's here obviously interested in Washtenaw County to follow. The pictures are a lot of fun to look at, and then I saw that map and I was like, oh, I'm gonna have a Washtenaw County map too, but I'm gonna tell Ricky I'm
Bring
totally copying him, totally.
No, it's all free.
Right now, I just got the administration building from the outside. I like the way it seems like I'm sitting outside on a perfectly sunny day. Not that it's snowing outside like it is now.
Yeah, it's Inception, Katie.
That's too silly.
Yeah, that gives me inspiration.
Yeah.
Sunny day.
Someday it's not gonna snow.
Right.
And do we have any news from Felicia yet? Is she doing okay?
Trying. I'm so
She's trying right now.
Okay.
I can resend the invite from.
I just sent her the invite, Crystal.
Panelist for Washtenaw County.
Oh, is that her voice?
Yes, it's via Diane's cell phone.
Oh. I was like, I hear her.
Oh, okay.
Felicia. Well, maybe we've got Edwin. Maybe I'll just get started so we're not here too long. Maybe like 30 more seconds, but I don't want to keep anybody hanging around. We'll see how the puppy behaves tonight. Last time at working session, I was wrangling the puppy the entire time. This time, he's looking sort of chill, but you know how puppies go. Means in 5 minutes, he could be biting my heel.
Well, maybe if you would discipline him properly, you wouldn't have that issue, Commissioner Scott.
What do you suggest, Commissioner LeVar?
I always find if I yell at people or animals, it always solves the underlying behavior. It makes me look smart.
Well, there you go. Oh, well. I feel like that's not our MO in this house. Okay, I'm going to start. Hopefully we get Commissioner Braybeck here and everything will work out. But in the meantime, I will call this meeting of the Washtenaw County Ways and Means Committee to order. And Mr. Pert, could you please call the roll for us?
Sure. Commissioner Beeman?
Here.
Commissioner Braybeck? Commissioner Jamnick?
I'm here.
Commissioner Jefferson?
Here.
Commissioner LeVar?
Here,
Commissioner Maciejewski?
Here.
Commissioner Morgan?
Here.
Commissioner Scott?
Here.
Commissioner Schenk?
Here.
Great, thanks.
Thank you very much, everyone. At this time of the meeting, item number 2 on the agenda is citizen participation. I think that Crystal is who's going to help us see if we have citizens who are interested in participating. If you are interested in participating, we ask that you keep your comments to 3 minutes. I'll try to time you and let you know when your 3 minutes are up. Do we have any citizens who are interested in participating in the meeting tonight? I don't see any hands raised from the participants list. I'm looking once again. Okay, I don't see anybody. So I think that means there's no citizen participation this evening. So that takes care of item number 3 on the agenda, which is commissioner follow-up to citizen participation. And that brings us to new business. Would somebody like to move the agenda for me? And any one of you commissioners can do it. I believe in you.
I make a motion to move the agenda. We have A, under new business, we have an equalization report. B, Parks and Recreation, we have Washtenaw County Natural Areas Preservation Program millage renewal. C, Risk Management, we have a supplemental approval of the tentative agreement with Police Officers Association of Michigan, report of the county administrator, report of the chair. We don't normally read all that. Usually Commissioner Labar does this. So anyway, if you want me to read the rest of it, I can. Otherwise, I'll just say I make a motion to move the agenda in its entirety.
Thank you. I think that works. You read all the essential items. Do I have a second for that?
Support?
Big ones.
Commissioner Labar. All right, so the first item on the agenda here is A1, the 2020 equalization report. I think at this time we have a presentation that we will hear from Raman Patel about the equalization report. Will give us interesting insight into the future of county finances. And from here, Raman,
Yes.
take it away. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Madam Chair and members of the board, this is our 61st annual equalization report. I have been privileged to assist with completing 49 of them. I wish to thank Commissioner, administration, supervisors, assessors, and Board of Review members and equalization staff for their support. County published the preliminary ratio in the month of February, showing the level of assessment in each class of property for each governmental units. These ratios indicated the amount of adjustment necessary to meet the assessment level of 50% of market value as required by law. All governmental units have met that level of assessment. Therefore, I am recommending a factor of 1 for all classes of property in Washtenaw County. That means that there is no dispute between us and a local unit of government. They all have accepted the equalized value for the county. Under the proposal A, the CPI will never be higher than 5%. This year CPI is 1.9%. The uncapping of parcel will trigger the reduction fraction in a majority of the units operating millage rate, including the Washtenaw County's millage rate. This year, the tentative calculation shows that the Headley fraction will be less than 1 for the Washtenaw County government. This will result in a new millage rate of 4.3947 for the maximum authorized levy for the county. The last year levy was 4.4239. That means that we are losing the 3 cents this year, approximately 3 cents. All taxing units, we have 70 plus taxing units, including the schools, townships, cities, community colleges, ISD, and libraries. They all will get their portion of the SCV and taxable value along with the Headley fraction by the end of this week. It will send to them via email as well as the publish on the Equalization Department website. Now I will review the equalization slide and present my recommendation to you. Paco is going to run the show. Now you see this is the 2020 Washtenaw County Equalization Report. Next. What I'm recommending here, agriculture property, I'm recommending the 544 million, which is increase of 1.85% this year from last year. Commercial property, 5 billion, 113 million, which is increase of 5.36%. Industrial, I'm recommending 530 million, which is 4.14% increase. Now residential, our total equalized value is 16.4 billion, which is increase of 1.1 billion to 7.21% increase. Now these are all equalized value, and this equalized value is a 50% of the market value. That means the residential property has gone up 2.2 billion in a market value. This includes the market value plus the new construction. We have the highest increase in a residential property. Developmental property, we have a 35 million is we call as a parking. That means that the property goes back and forth from the developmental, which is a 25% increase. And personal property, we have a 1.2 billion, which is 5.26% increase. Overall county equalized value, which I'm recommending, 23,892,751,739, which is a 6.53% increase from last year. It gives you the new equalized value increase $1.4 billion, which is, if you double it, that makes 2.8 billion in the new market value we got this year in the Washtenaw County. Next. Now this is the 10 years of history. In 2010, we lost about 7.22% market value. 2011, we lost about 4.82. 2012, 1.43. Then we started increasing all the equalized value. Last year, we had an equalized value 8.17%. Now this year is only 6.53%. We did discuss last equalization report last year that we are plateauing out on our valuation. You can see the evidence right here that from last year to this year, we did lose some equalized value. We did not lose, but the market is down from last year to this year. So that is our increase this year, 6.53. Next. This is our 5-year new construction. Also, you can see in a new construction, we have a less new construction this year than last year. Last year was 663,724,000. This year we have about 536,508,000. This is new construction. We also call as a taxable value. Next. Now this is the percentage of the county total. Now we have all the valuation, 68.25% is a residential property in the Washtenaw County. It has increased every year, 0.5% or 1% every year in a residential property. That means that burden is coming on a residential property owners more than anything else. We lost about the personal property quite a bit since they exempted the personal property. We have only 5% now. We have agriculture 2.26%. We have a commercial 21.25% and industrial is 2.20%. So most of the burden is on a residential property nowadays. Next. This is the average residential sales price. We have about average residential sales price 334,000, which is the last month figure, March 20. This is the latest figure. This is the average price in a Washtenaw County. Next. Now this ends the equalization. Now I'm going to show the taxable value. These values are all tentative. Reason why we have to put this tentative value, that final value calculated in the month of June, and it doesn't get the finalized until the state equalizes all the 83 counties. And state is going to equalize in the 4th Monday in May. But we always give out earlier this taxable value so everybody can prepare their budget. And generally, we do not have a dispute with the state or we do not have a dispute with the local unit of government. If there is a dispute, then you'll see that changing this taxable value, but I do not expect any changes this year. Next. Is the county taxable value. We calculated the taxable value. Our taxable value this year is 18.4 billion. That gives the increase 4.80% increase in the taxable value. That's the double the CPI number. 2.5 times more CPI number. So you saw the equalized value. Now you saw the total taxable value in the county. This is the official number, 4.80. Next. This is the percentage change from 2008 to 2020, all taxable value. You can see the agriculture property is going up, commercial, industrial, we lost the taxable value. Also residential is going up, developmental, and a personal property almost is no increase because of the exemption. Next. Now here's the surrounding counties. We don't have many figures right now because everyone is equalizing and they're all struggling over there. But we got only 4 counties, Washtenaw County. Again, let's compare with the Oakland County. We are still higher than Oakland County this year. Also, we are close to the Livingston on the taxable value. And we have a Lenawee County. Next. This is the Board of Review. I just wanted to let you know that when we ran all the Board of Review with all the 26 unit of governments, it was all locked down, if you recall that. So they all ran the Board of Review. We had about 1,000 appeal on a Board of Review. Last year was 2,000 appeal. This year only 1,000 appeal. The number of appeal granted 792. We reduced the assessed value by 59 million. Taxable value we reduced by 42 million. Poverty exemption, we had 366 people apply for the poverty exemption, and Board of Review granted 363. We had a disabled veterans exemption 294, and we reduced the taxable value by 29 million. This is all action by the local Board of Review. This is the county-wide figure. Next. Now, what I have here, I have already distributed the value to each local unit of governments, all the schools and everyone else. Left-hand side, you see the equalized value. Right-hand side, you're going to see the taxable value. You can compare the equalized value and the taxable value, how much each unit of government is getting it. So give the example of the city of Ann Arbor. Their equalized value has increased 6.44, while the taxable value went up 5.68. Also, if you look at the Freedom Township, which we are assessor, our equalized value went up 9.68, while taxable value went up 10.49. Reason why we had a more taxable value, because we have a new construction, new personal property, and pipeline company coming in over there. That's why you have a more new construction over there. So if you total all the cities and townships, on the bottom, you'll see the same exact equalized value, what you have a county-wide equalized value. Now, things to remember here that when you add all the county and city, it's supposed to be equal to the county equalized value. So if we add all the 19 schools, that's supposed to equal to county equalized value. When we add all the community colleges, that equals to the county equalized value, which you're going to see next slide. Next. You see all the schools. They're going to get all their equalized value and taxable value next week, this week. So they can prepare their budget. So you see all the adding all the 19 school equals to the county equalized value. We have a 3 community college in Washtenaw County. We have a Washtenaw Community College, plus we have a overlapping of a Schoolcraft, and we have a Oakland Community College in a Salem Township and all those townships and a bordering county. So do the intermediate school district. They are all overlapping in a Washtenaw County. So we have to give them our portion to them so they can levy their rate into the Washtenaw County. See how that works? So we have a 7 intermediate school district in Washtenaw County. Next. Here is our villages. We have 2 villages in Washtenaw County. It is their portion of the SEV and a taxable. We have all the authorities in Washtenaw County. Now you see here the Chelsea City DDA, Milan City DDA, and Ypsilanti CTA. Reason why they're listed here because they levy their millages on a DDA. That's why it's listed here. We don't contribute to them, but they levy their own millages. Now also you see all the libraries listed here. Their portion of the SEV and the taxable, so they can levy their taxes. Next. Now here is the CFT and IFT. That's the commercial facility tax and industrial facility tax. This has nothing to do with the ad valorem tax, what you've seen. This is the extra value that everyone levies on it. Okay, so these are the township and city. Also, county also levies on this one. That's the half rate properties. Next. This is the DNR property, which is a separate role. We have a DNR property in Washtenaw County. So we'll be collecting $10 million taxable value on that one. And this, all the township and cities also going to be collecting on that. Next. This is a Oprah property. We have only one property in Ypsilanti City. So right now they have a taxable value of 1.7 million. We also collect, county also collects on it too. Next. This is the consumer price index. Just like I mentioned to you that this year CPI number is a 1.9%. Last year was 2.4. We don't know what's going to happen next year. Now, consumer price index is not the state number, it is a federal number. And that includes so many different things that include the transportation, food, medical care, also oil. You can see right now what is happening to the oil prices today. Okay, so now you can tell what's going to happen to the CPI number next year, isn't it? So less CPI number, that means less taxable value, that means the less revenue. That's the way it works. And it comes out from the federal government. It is all written in our Michigan law, how to calculate. If you see next slide, next. You see, this is the number, monthly index. And if you go to 1134D, it has described everything, how we're going to calculate that number 1.9. And this is the statewide number. Every county uses this number. Every assessor uses this number in the state of Michigan. Every assessment roll, when they calculate the taxable value, 1.9 number has to be used. It's not us, it's everybody. Now, this year you can see that right now in the March up to 2.58, but we just got the April number, it is lower. Because then we're going to monitor all the way up to the September. Then we'll have a new number. Next. Now this is the way we calculate. We take the last year taxable, this is the county-wide number. I have a calculation done for the more than 70 unit of government, the same exact way. And we're going to distribute tomorrow their portion of the taxable value and their portion of the millage rate fraction. So this is our county-wide millage rate fraction. We have a millage rate fraction 0.9934. If it is the 1, then we could have levied the same number what we levied last year. But now it's a 0.99, so we have to reduce by 0.9934. This is our new number, 4.3947. That's our new millage rate on operating millage. Every governmental unit, there is a separate number. We're going to publish that list tomorrow. So they can levy whatever the operating rate they are entitled, but these are the maximum number you can levy. You can always levy less than that, but you cannot levy higher than that. If you wanted to go higher than that, then you have to go to the voters to have approval done. And that's the Headley amendment, that's the proposal A. So basically what it is, that if your taxable value goes more than 1.9% plus the new construction, you've been given the credit on a new construction. You can see here on a formula that our 2020 edition 535 million, that's the credit being given minus. You see here. Also, they've given the credit on all the losses, 140 million. Now that 140 million, that includes the personal property loss. So I will be filing the report to the state to get the reimbursement for the personal property. And that's where we calculate that. And all this formula have been described in a State Tax Commission Bulletin 11 of 1999. And every county has to do the same way. Next. This is the information from 1959. We started the department in 1959. Now up to the 2020, 61 years of history of the department. Our first equalized value was only 562 million in 1959. Today is a 23 billion. I started in the 70, was 1.2 billion. Now we have a 23 billion. There's a lot of growth in Washtenaw County. Now you see here in 1995, that's the proposal A came in, and we have a SEV and a taxable both. That's when we started. We used to levy on equalized value on a left-hand side column, but after the proposal, we started levying on a taxable value. So difference between this and that is the saving for the taxpayer, because they are paying the less tax than what they used to pay. Next. This is the curve for 61 years in this county. Next. Now this is the gap between SEV and a taxable. You see our taxpayer has saved 22.68% property tax since proposal A. We used to levy on equalized value. Now we levy on a taxable value. So our taxable value is less because taxable value cannot go more than 5% or whatever CPI number is. So CPI number is only 1.9%, but the market value can go 5 or 10%. But you don't pay on a market value. Only time you pay on a market value when the property is being sold. Then SEV becomes the taxable. Next. Now this is only for the county government. It's not for the rest of the unit of government. Here is our revenue. You see the 17.6 billion was the last year taxable value. This year is 18.4. We add the half rate property, which is 77 million. DNR property, which is a 10 million. Ypsilanti Opera, which I show you the slide, 1.7 million. Special X parcel, 43,000. Also, equivalent county taxable value, if you total all those things, is 18.6 billion. These are all the levy. This has no deduction or anything. These are the levy. We're going to send out the tax bill to the taxpayer. Okay. Now you see the new rate, 4.39. So we will be collecting and we'll be levying 81,585,874, which is going to be 3.186744 is our new revenue increase. Plus, you see in a note that personal property reimbursement summary report will be filed by May 31st. That will be, when we file that report, you're going to see that money coming in when you have a quarterly adjustment by the finance department or budget office. We won't know how much money is going to be, but we'll file the report, then they'll send the check. They send about the 3 times or 4 times check before, and they'll send to everybody, all the counties. So this is our revenue, 3.1 million this year from last year. Next. If you have any question, I'll be glad to answer for you, Commissioner.
Paco, I'm wondering if we can go back to the full, you read my mind. God, Paco, you're good. That's really fantastic. Commissioners, can I see if you have some questions for Ramon? Commissioner Brayback?
Thanks, Chair. I just had one question. Ramon, thanks so much.
Okay.
This is an inordinate amount of work I know that you and your department do and provide for us every year. So thank you again. My one question was, obviously it's, we're trending better, which is great, but I also am curious about the significant, or what seems like a significant decrease in the number of appeals. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, because reason why we have a significant decrease because it's a lockdown, isn't it? Board of review is in the month of April.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm so happy that they did run the board of review. Every government, a lot of county having a hard time to close the board of review.
Oh, really?
If they do not close the board of review, they cannot equalize.
Right.
Right? And
Right.
equalize means that you are setting the tax base for the entire county. You see that how many people are in, how many governmental units are involved in it.
Yes.
And it is required by law that the Board of Commissioners must equalize by the May 1st. So everybody have only 1 week left. So we are lucky in that sense that we completed work, we calculated everything, and we are sending out everything tomorrow.
Right. Thank you, Raman. I appreciate it.
And I think that is the reason because people cannot travel, so they may not have appeared because last year was 2,000 appeal and this year only 1,000.
Right. Right. Yeah, that's so interesting. Thank you. Thank you, Chair. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Commissioner. Other commissioners with questions or comments for Mr. Patel? Commissioner Schenk? You're still on mute, Commissioner.
Thank you. Thank you, Ramon, for that very detailed report. I appreciated all the graphs and charts to help me understand all the numbers that you were talking about. I'm getting comments and questions about how the townships can prepare their budget for what's coming. And I wonder if you have any words of advice.
Well, Commissioner, it's up to the township and the cities what they're going to do. For me, for us as a county, we give them the tax base. How they wanted to levy, it's up to them. We cannot interfere in their levy. Whether they
just thinking about the property values and if you had any thoughts about what might happen to them, given the situation that's happening around us today. I know that's a little bit outside the purview of your report. I just thought you probably think about these things quite a bit.
I mean, you're talking the future value?
Yes.
Okay.
No, not that they're not disputing or prepared to dispute what you've calculated.
No. You're talking about what's going to happen a year from now or 2 years from now.
Yes.
Okay. Let's work together on that issue, okay? Because I wanted to have some education too. Now, you see first of all, we have to set up the market value of the county, okay? Now you can see that everything is closed. You think so real estate is going to get affected by it? Definitely, it's going to have some effect. There is not buying and selling going on right now. Also, on a taxable side, you can see the CPI number is going to go down, in my opinion. I hope it doesn't go down, but the way the market is going, it has to come down. Because last year was 2.4%. This year is only 1.19%. So I don't know what's going to happen next year taxable value. If the taxable value goes down and CPI number goes down, then definitely revenue is going to go down unless there is a new construction. But the new construction also going down. You just saw it on a slide. So we'll try our best next year. Let's see what happens. Because I got challenges to do. There's no question about it. All the assessor is going to have a challenge. Look at right now, we are equalizing at the end of the April. We already lost the 1 month, the field work. We're supposed to go out in the field right now. But we already lost 1 month. So we have to do a lot of catching up to do for the next equalization. So it's going to be tough for everybody. So there'll be some challenges for next 2 years for us. We'll do our best, make sure that it doesn't happen, but we'll see. Whatever market is, market is. Now,
thank you.
Only way you can get the more revenue to increase the millage rate, but that millage rate has to be approved by the taxpayer. And let's see what happens.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Ramon. Any other questions here? Commissioner Morgan.
Just a quick thank you to Ramon. Thanks for, I know this is always a really exciting report, and I wish we could do it in person, but I appreciate you sharing the same level of excitement about equalization over the video here as you do in person. We appreciate all the hard work that you do.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner. Did I see another hand? I was looking down at some of my questions. Well, I also would like to echo the thank yous because I think this is an enormous amount of work with a lot of what seems like complicated ways of trying to figure things out. I felt confident in calculus, but I never feel confident looking at these numbers. So thank you very much for that. I do have a question for you. I mean, I know you did talk about how, you know, what happens with the market happens. We can't do that. But I'm wondering about Washtenaw County and how insulated we have been in a historical sense from some of the drops. So in 2008, 2009, 2010, we did see a drop in those values, but how did we compare to the rest of the counties around the state? Did we fare better, about the same, or worse? And does that portend maybe a better situation for us in light of what's going to happen with the markets with COVID?
Well, when you 2008, 9, 10, 11, our economy went down, okay, at that time. Seems to me this thing is going to be temporary. It's not going to be that long what we went through 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I don't think so it's going to go that long, you know. We may have a bump for a couple of years, in my opinion, you know, but market will come back in Washtenaw County. That's what I see.
The market will come back, but in those years that we went down here with that last recession, did we go down as much as the other counties, or we were somewhat insulated?
We were least went down. Other county went down more. We did not have to do anything in our county. We may have to adjust a little bit budget, but there wasn't any layoff or anything like that. You know, we survived that year.
Okay. Okay. That's good to know.
And I'm sure they will survive again, you know.
Yeah, we'll make it through some way. It's I'll just probably be looking at
challenges. Let's put it that way.
It will be a challenge, and probably what I'll be looking for this week is talking to the county administrator, who will probably be looking to you and to our treasurer to talk about a projection that we have for county finances going forward for 3, 6, and 12 months from now, looking at a best case scenario and a worst case scenario. And then hopefully we'll be able to talk about our budget going forward. Somewhere in the middle of that is what I'll be looking for. And certainly the information that you present here tonight helps us understand what that may look like going forward. So thank you very much. It was a very concise report and hard to present online, and I really appreciate your work. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Anytime any commissioner have any question, please give me a call.
You might be hearing from me. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Commissioners, if there's no other questions, comments, or concerns on this item, I'll look for hands one more time before we move to a vote here. So this is recommended for approval, and I'm going to have Mr. Pert call the roll for us here. All those in favor of this, please signify by saying aye. Mr. Pert, could you please call the roll?
Sure. Commissioner Beeman?
Aye.
Commissioner Braybeck?
Yes.
Commissioner Jamnick?
Yes.
Commissioner Jefferson?
Yes.
Commissioner Labar?
Yes.
Commissioner Maciejewski?
Yes.
Commissioner Morgan?
Yes.
Commissioner Scott?
Yes.
Commissioner Schenk?
Yes.
Item passed.
Great. Thank you very much. Commissioners, next item on the agenda is 4B Parks and Recreation. This is the Washtenaw County Natural Areas Preservation Program millage renewal. This would authorize the clerk to place this on the ballot for November 3rd, 2020. Do I have questions, comments, or concerns on this item? Commissioner Schenk.
Thank you, Chair. I just want colleagues to join me in voting for this millage to be placed on the ballot. It's been an excellent millage. It's, at least in my district, universally supported. And it's also an important tool in our fight against climate change. It's a tool that not only fights climate change, it also provides recreation and healthful activities for our population. And I hear the preserves are getting quite a bit of during this. People are needing a safe place to get outside and get some exercise. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. I have heard the same. I think we are very blessed with a lot of areas for people to get out and walk and be outside and still be effective with their social distancing. Any other questions, comments, or concerns? Okay, so seeing none, this is also recommended for approval, and I will have Mr. Pert call that roll again. All those in favor, if you could please signify by saying yes. Mr. Pert, could you call the roll?
Commissioner Braybeck,
Yes.
Commissioner Jamnik,
Yes.
Commissioner Jefferson,
Yes.
Commissioner Labar,
Yes.
Commissioner Maciejewski,
Yes.
Commissioner Morgan,
Yes.
Commissioner Scott,
Yes.
Commissioner Schenk,
Yes.
Commissioner Beaman.
Yes.
Item passed.
Thank you very much, everyone. Next item on the agenda is 4C, Risk Management. This is approval of the tentative agreement with the POAM. This is the Police Officers Association of Michigan. I will remind you that their agreement expired December 31st, 2020. This extends the agreement through 2020. I'm sorry. And the details were in the memo. Anybody with any questions, comments, or concerns on this tentative agreement with the POAM? Commissioner Labar.
Thanks, Chair. I just wanted to thank staff on their work on this. I know you got a lot going on and appreciate the effort you've put into it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Morgan?
Yeah, I just want to say, I echo Commissioner Labar's comments. I think this is great. I'm really glad that we're finding a way to provide some additional compensation for our first responders, for the sheriff's deputies, folks who really are exposing themselves on the front lines to risk. I think this is really important. I'm glad that we're moving it just through Ways and Means, because I feel like this is a big contract and I want to move it through a proper process. And so I'm really glad that we're moving it just through one night, but I'm really, really happy that we're doing it. So thank you very much to Judy and Greg and staff for working something out so that we can really make sure we're supporting the Sheriff's Office.
Thank you, Commissioner Morgan. Any other questions, comments, or concerns? Again, I echo my other commissioners. Thank you very much. I know who was working on our side of the agreement. I don't know who was working on behalf of POAM, but thank you very much to those people too. Sitting at the bargaining table is always difficult, and probably even more so in the middle of a pandemic. And I'm happy to see that the Police Officers Association of Michigan has reached this tentative agreement, and hope that they're happy with the deal as well. I'd love for somebody from POAM to tell me who was negotiating for them so I could send you a note as well. But thank you very much, everyone. And so we're gonna have an approval tonight and then look at that again for full approval in 2 weeks at the Board of Directors. For now, I'll look for a vote. This is recommended for approval. Mr. Pert, could you please call the roll on this one? Thank you.
Commissioner Jamnik,
Yes.
Commissioner Jefferson,
Yes.
Commissioner Labar,
Yes.
Commissioner Maciejewski,
Yes.
Commissioner Morgan,
Yes.
Commissioner Scott,
Yes,
Commissioner Schenk,
I think she might be frozen.
Commissioner Schenk,
I think she may be.
I think she's frozen.
Michelle, are we able to go back and record her vote later?
yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Commissioner Beaman,
Yes.
Commissioner Brabeck,
Yes.
item pass.
Thank you very much, Mr. Burt. Thank you, board. Next item on the agenda is item 5, report of the county administrator, who I think is going to talk to us about sheltering activities and give us an update on that. Thank you, Mr. Dill. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Thank you, County Commissioners. Just a couple of items. First, I just want to just communicate my heartfelt thank you to Sheriff Clayton and his team for the POAM agreement. They've always been super strong partners with the county, and we continue to benefit from that as a community. I'd also like to thank Judy Kramer, who has led the discussion on our end. She's just done a fantastic job on that. So thank you, Judy, for your work. Moving to Raman Patel and his report, the news is good on the front end. I think for 2020, that news is super exciting. I would caution the board and others as we think about moving into 2021. I think we need to be conservative and disciplined in our thinking around our budgets. I think there is a rough road ahead. Obviously, I think you all know that the state of Michigan's budget is built largely on sales taxes, and there's no activity happening right now. So the road ahead is full of landmines. To that end, I did send out to all of you a financial update impact related to our response to the COVID-19. One data point that I think you all have focused in on, rightfully so, and have sent me a few questions, is the spend rate. For the first month of the crisis, we spent $1.8 million of additional resources, and it is having, I think, a phenomenal impact in our community. I want to thank you all for really stepping up in an aggressive way and making sure that our community had the resources that we needed. There are a couple of categories that really stand out for me, our sheltering activities being one, and personal protection equipment. We continue to try to work to make sure that our first responders, county staff, and our community partners have the things that they need to continue to operate. So you have that report. Again, I caution us to start to think about 2021 and beyond, the challenges that we know we'll face from a revenue perspective. The last thing on my to-do list today, I've asked our Deputy County Administrator, Diane Height, to provide you with a sheltering update. That's one of the key components of our response. I think we've done a great job of really trying to bring our community partners to the table. And I think, the commissioners have been appropriately involved in that decision-making. So again, just thank you to all of you for your work around that item. Diane? Diane, you're mute.
Okay.
Diane, you're muted.
I'm back again. Thank you. I said, good evening, commissioners, and thank you. I just wanted to provide you with an update as to where we are with our sheltering activities that have been ongoing since the beginning of the COVID-19 crisis. We have been working with the Shelter Association and specifically the Delana Center to work to ensure that the appropriate social distancing measures are followed in accordance with the public health guidelines and whatnot. So currently we have obviously we have the Delana Center, but what we have done is we've moved to the Delana Center is actually managing 5 different sites at this time. So we have the Delana Center, public health has indicated that our maximum capacity for appropriate social distancing at the Delana Center should be no more than 38 clients at any given time. We also have a local hotel, which we have roughly 47 to 48 clients from the homeless population that are at the hotel every evening. and receiving, food, laundry services, community mental health services, and sheltering services as well. We also have 3 local churches that are staffed between 15 to 25 clients every evening. And the Shelter Association has had to bring on approximately 20 to 25 staff over the course of the last number of weeks in order to ensure we are able to staff appropriately these 5 different locations. In addition to that, we have an isolation and quarantine site that has been established at one of the local hotels. At no given time have we had over between 14 to 15 individuals at that site. So we still have more capacity, probably another 35 to 40 beds that are available for that. We are continuing to work with the University of Michigan, have had incredibly positive conversations with them. I can just give a shout out to Andrew DeLue, who's been very key in working with the University of Michigan and looking at other potential, whether they're dormitory possibilities. So they would be like the hotel arrangements that we have. So we could move out of more of the congregate sites that are at the Delana Center and at these 3 churches into a more individual room area as well. In addition to the homeless population, we've also established, we've worked with one of our local hotels to establish availability for our first responders. Primarily the Sheriff's Department has taken advantage of that. And so we do have individuals, deputies, correction officers and whatnot that are receiving shelter on a night-by-night basis in the event that they feel that they have been exposed and need to have a safe place and not go home to potentially expose their families and whatnot. So on the whole, we are continuing to work with the Shelter Association, work with the University of Michigan. Each day I hear of more of the Sheriff's Office staff and other first responders that might be taking us on some of the options that we have established. Greg?
So thank you, Diane. That will conclude my report.
Thank you very much, Administrator Dill. It looks like we have a question or a comment on that from Commissioner Morgan.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to make sure our colleagues know just the incredible amount of work that Greg and Diane and Teresa and Jimena and Ellen Rabinowitz have done to care for our homeless and housing insecure populations. We've heard from a lot of constituents on this, and we've had several calls. Commissioner LaBarre and Scott and Jefferson and I have been involved in several of these calls. They've been doing an incredible amount of work to try and do everything we can to make sure that we can house people. This has been a huge effort, and it will eventually be a huge expense for us as well. But they're working really hard to make sure that we're ensuring that the homeless population is cared for. So I just want to make sure everybody knows how appreciative we are of that work that's being done and continues to be done.
Chair Scott, if I may just add one other thing. We know we continue to work on the challenges that we have in the 9897 zip code. We are looking at opportunities to prop up sheltering, testing, and other areas east of US 23. We'll continue that work, and I expect to have something back to you all in the coming weeks that talks more in a more detailed way about that activity.
Thank you very much. Any other questions or comments on this, Commissioner LaBarre?
Chair, thanks. I'll try and be brief. I certainly agree with everything Commissioner Morgan said in terms of the work staff is doing. I really appreciate it. For us as a board, though, one thing that I've been thinking about, and I've talked a little bit with Greg, but not to too much detail, but for as long as I've been a commissioner, I think Felicia before me and going back to Bob Gunzel's era, so to speak, there has always been an ethos within county administration of what I would call fiscal prudence. There's always been a sense that there are expectations in Washtenaw County in terms of how we produce budgets, how we spend those budgets and how we account for them and so forth that need to be adhered to. And there's been a general deference to the idea that you have to protect the county as an institution from a financial position. And even when I've wanted to spend money on something and didn't like that we were being told no, I always respected that administration, really to a person, held to that core value. I do think for the 9 of us, it might be good within the next few meetings to at least consider some sort of either explicit statement or some way to sort of put a marker down to say, because of the COVID emergency and because of the long-lasting likely economic impacts, I hope Rahman is correct and we bounce back. I have my my bet hedging on that. That we say basically that we understand that the fiscal philosophy up to this point may need on a somewhat temporary or somewhat permanent basis, depending on how you define it, may need a little bit of a readjustment. We're in a period where getting services out to people is of the utmost importance. And I think I'm going so far out of my soapbox to say all this just because I want staff to be able to say, we did what you asked us to do, and you gave us a shift in fiscal philosophy as a response to COVID. And here's that document, or here's that official statement, that we pivoted from. Do they need that? No, they understand this inherently. Obviously, they're skilled public servants, but it might be useful for them to be able to point to, particularly, in the next 3, 6 months, a year or two, just something to think about. So I throw all that out there verbally, not to discussion tonight, but just to say, perhaps that's something we want to do as a board. Thanks, Chair.
Yeah, Commissioner LeVar, to that end, that's part of when I said that probably the administrator would hear from me in a more formal manner soon, asking for an outlook on what a budget might look like, that 3, 6, 12-month projection, best case, worst case, so we could have an idea of what that would look like financially for us, because I agree with you. I do think we've always had good fiscal responsibility and had that at the foresight. When I look at the history of the way the Board of Commissioners has run and the way I've seen it run, in my tenure on this board so far, I can see that. But we are in a very unique public health crisis that is having far-reaching, the tentacles of this go deep into our community. And even in ways that I don't think people initially thought. So it was good to hear from Diane and Greg tonight about that sheltering impact, because I think that for many people, they didn't think about that. I certainly was talking to somebody about different issues about nursing and said, and I'm also talking about how we're doing sheltering. And this person, who's a very savvy person, said, I never even thought about what you're doing with unhoused populations. Like, how are you even handling that? And this is the tip of the iceberg of what people are dealing with. And so I think we're going to really see, as an entity that deals with health and human services, by and large, for many people in this county, how that ends up affecting us and how it will end up affecting the budget. And I agree that we probably need to think a little bit about what we want to do with that budget going forward, which is why I'd like to see a projection and understanding when I ask for that, Administrator Dill, that in no way am I going to hold anybody to that. It's just going to be a projection for us to get an idea of what we can think about that we can do realistically for health and human services going forward, and have a good idea of the budget that we have in that area, with the best case scenario and a worst case scenario, and planning that way, to just thinking along the same lines that you've been thinking, Commissioner LeVar, and then thinking, let's have a window of numbers in that too, so we can help make those decisions guided somewhat by fact of progression. You know what I'm saying, I hope.
Thank you, Chair. If I can be of use or if I can stay out of your way, you just let me know.
You can always be of use, and so I'm sure I will call upon you. Thank you very much. Any other comments or questions for Administrator Dill?
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is the report of the Chair of Ways and Means. I think you've heard me talk enough tonight, and so I will make that my report. Next item is report of the Chair of the Board, Commissioner Morgan.
Yes, you've probably also heard me talk enough, but I will still give an update on a few things. Really just an extension of the conversation we just had around the homeless population. One of the things that we're going to make sure that we try and do, and Greg and a lot of you and I have had this conversation, is try and make sure we get as much money for Washtenaw County, for our residents, through the federal and state government, through federal legislation, through reimbursements through FEMA, and all the support that we can. There is some conversation at the federal level of a next round of a CARES Act. There's one that will probably pass tomorrow that will provide more money to support our small businesses. That'll provide more money for the PPP program in particular, the Paycheck Protection program. But there's also a future round being discussed that could include funding for broadband internet expansion, which Commissioners Beeman and Maciejewski and Shink and I have been in a lot of conversations with Barb Fuller about, and the broadband task force. We want to make sure that we try and find as much money there as we can for expansion of broadband. And then we want to try and make sure that in future rounds of the CARES Act, that there's funding for directly to communities that are smaller than 500,000 people. So what we're trying to do is get money that would not go through the state or through another unit of government, but that would go directly to smaller communities, us being included in that, less than 500,000 people directly from the federal government. And there's also a strong effort to be made, or that's being made, to reduce the increase the amount of money we could get. Right now, the FEMA reimbursement is 75 cents on the dollar. There's an effort to try and increase that to 100%. And if that were the case, then we could absolutely get more money for Washtenaw County, which of course would then allow us to serve our residents more and put that money back into our community. So those are some of the big things that we're working on. And a lot of you have been working on making sure that our communities and our senior centers and other areas get the PPE equipment and the resources that they need. So wherever we have issues, loop Greg in, loop me in if helpful, to try and make sure that we're doing everything we can. It seems like everybody has been very active for our communities, which is great. Because as we've said before, I think this is our time when county government is really doing our job, and we're more important than ever. And we want to make sure that we live up to that. So we're going to try and get as many resources as we can for the community as we can. So thank you, Chair. That is my report.
Thank you, Commissioner. Administrator Dill.
I just wanted you to know before you end your meeting that we need to wrap back around and record Commissioner Shink's vote.
Sure. That was her vote on the POAM. Is that correct? That was the vote?
Correct.
Right.
Okay. Commissioner Shink, would you like to record your vote on the POAM contract?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
remembering that. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is items for current and future discussion. Obviously, I think we probably have a lot of items to come forward with. And one of the things I'd like us all to think about as we go forward is to think about the equity issues that exist in our county. We have known that they've been there. We've seen reports that they've been there. And those reports have all seemed maybe to some people a little academic. And what we have seen as a part of this COVID-19 pandemic is that it is not an academic issue. It is a very real issue for many people in our county. And we're going to have to start thinking about some creative ways to address this equity in our county, because it is immoral that certain people, that certain zip codes are affected more by this than others, just by measure of our health disparities that exist. And I believe in this board's ability to get things done and to make some changes with that. So items for current and future discussion, I think we'll be looking at how we continue to aggressively address equity issues in this county, so tragically highlighted by the COVID-19 pandemic. Next item on the agenda is our pending items. I do not believe we have any pending items. So at this time, I would look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Support.
Thank you very much. The Ways and Means meeting is adjourned. Commissioner Morgan, are we going to head straight into the?
Let's just jump
board?
right into it.
Do it. Let's go. Okay, great. Thanks, everyone. Great meeting.
Thank you.
Okay, I will call this meeting of the Washtenaw County Board of Commissioners for April 22nd to order. Edwin, could you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Beaman,
Here.
Commissioner Brabeck,
Here.
Commissioner Jamnick,
Yes.
Commissioner Jefferson,
Here.
Commissioner LeBar,
Here.
Commissioner Maciejewski,
Sure.
Commissioner Morgan,
Here.
Commissioner Scott,
Here.
Commissioner Schink.
Here.
Perfect.
Great. First up, Pledge of Allegiance. I believe we will see the pledge on the screen. All right, let's try and coordinate this so we can start all at once here. I'll do a 1, 2, 3 countdown and see if that works.
3 countdown, stand for the pledge.
All right. I don't know how to, I can't really stand here, but all right, 1, 2, 3. I pledge
I pledge
allegiance
allegiance
to the
To
flag
the flag
of the
United
United
States
States
of America.
and to the
of the
republic
Republic,
for which it
which
stands,
stands
one
One
nation,
nation,
under
under
God,
God,
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible, with liberty.
liberty,
justice.
justice for all.
Okay, that is always my favorite part of these virtual meetings. First up, citizen participation. Are there any citizens who'd like to participate tonight? Just as a reminder, there is, I believe, an option to click raise your hand in the side here. So if you would like to address the board tonight, then you should raise your hand on the, let's see. Okay, I'm not seeing any. Crystal, are you seeing any?
I do not.
Okay. All right, I don't see any. So we will move past Commissioner follow-up and we will we'll keep going here. I do want to note that Mr. Minnick's family is here watching, and so later on in our agenda we have a resolution honoring him. So stick around for a few minutes here and we'll get to that. Okay, and we will keep moving. We'll skip Commissioner follow-up and move to liaison reports. Are there any liaison reports tonight? Commissioner Brabeck.
Thanks, Chair. I really appreciate it. I just wanted to let folks know, and my fellow commissioners who are on our CMH board can chime in here too, but we got some good news in terms of some rates. There's a supplemental, a $500 million supplemental from the general fund coming to mental health, which is good because general fund monies are not restricted. And so that is positive in light of COVID. We also are going to have some rate adjustments coming in April, and we'll know more about those. That is good. And the third thing, we all know that MDHHS offered 4 different solutions for restructuring the community mental health structure here in our state. And those have kind of been put on they have been put on the back burner for right now. And the Board Association has asked 8 different directors from throughout the state to help to create suggestions for MDHHS in terms of the structure of community mental health. And our director, Trish Cortez, is one of those directors who was chosen. And so I think it's a real opportunity for us and for Washtenaw County to have, because we have such unique experience in being able to work with our residents, both in the seriously mentally ill, those who are seriously mentally ill, and also folks in the developmentally disabled community. I think Trish has a wealth of knowledge that she'll be able to share. And so that will be on the horizon. Of course, COVID is taking precedence for everyone, but I do think that the 4 options that MDHHS was suggesting being put on the back burner is a good thing. My biggest concern about those is that they were leading to privatization, and that's a huge concern. And the last thing that I think that we would want. So overall, that was those are 3 positive things. And lately there have been so many difficult things around financial issues with CMH. So wanted to let folks know that we got some relatively good news.
We need that.
I know.
That good news.
I know.
Are there other liaison reports? Commissioner Schenk.
Thank you, Chair. I want to report that at the Parks meetings, we heard that staff is preparing for a potential reopening of parks. They are also preparing for not opening parks. They're also preparing for half opening parks. And so I think most of you know that the Washtenaw County parks are they're open for passive use. So like the bike trails are open and people can go walking as long as they don't get too close to each other. I will just say that I'm really impressed by the fact that Parks is thinking ahead far enough that they are making sure that whatever happens, they're ready and have a program in place for that. I also attended the Washtenaw County Road Commission meeting with Commissioner Jamnick, and we heard that the Road Commission is going ahead and they're negotiating the agreements with the townships about the road work that is to be done. They're continuing to maintain the roads, and they gave great compliments to Washtenaw County staff under the direction of Greg Dill, and particularly Teresa Gelati for working with them. They said that everything that they've needed from the county, they have received support on, and they feel like we are one county. And also, can you hear me?
Yeah.
We can.
Okay. Also, okay, great. I wasn't sure. The MS Extension website has more virtual classes than ever before. And so if people are looking to learn something, they go to canr.msu.edu. It's quite a variety of offerings there. So thank you.
Great. Are there other commissioners? Are there any other liaison reports? Okay. Seeing none, we will move to, where are we here? Special order of business. This is a public hearing to receive comment on the Washtenaw County, Washtenaw Urban County 2019-2020 Annual Action Plan. So I will declare this hearing now open. If there's anyone who would like to make comment regarding the Washtenaw Urban County Action Plan, this is the time. Okay, seeing none, I will declare this hearing now closed. Okay. Appointments, there are no appointments tonight. Would someone like to move the consent agenda?
So moved.
Or
Moved and supported. Any questions, comments, or concerns on the consent agenda? I do just want to note that this is, I think, the first time that a report from the Washtenaw County Road Commission regarding the summary of service requests is included in the consent agenda. So it is a report on all of the Washtenaw County Road Commission fix-it requests. So that's something you can take a look at in the agenda if you are interested. This is something that's part of our partnership with them to try and improve communication and all of those good things. Okay, seeing no other comments, Edwin, could you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Beaman,
Yes.
Commissioner Braybeck,
Yes.
Commissioner Jamnick,
Yes.
Commissioner Jefferson,
Yes.
Commissioner Labar,
Yes.
Commissioner Machieski,
Yes.
Commissioner Morgan,
Yes.
Commissioner Scott,
Yes.
Commissioner Schenk,
Yes.
agenda passed.
Great. Would someone like to move the resolutions that we have tonight? Commissioner Labar.
Thanks, Chair. And I apologize for my neglect at Ways and Means. I would move under resolutions, under Ways and Means, A, the Workers' Disability Compensation Program, B, the resolution of employment for Corporation Counsel Michelle Billard, C, the resolution to place a question of 2/100ths of a mil for a 6-year ask on the August 4th, 2020 primary ballot for the Conservation District. Then under 2, Ways and Means, a resolution on the 2020 equalization report. 3, Board of Commissioners, the recognition of Interfaith Roundtable for 25 years of service. B, the support resolution for local farmers through the CARES Act. C, a resolution in honor of former Washtenaw County Sheriff Thomas Richard Minnick. D, the supplemental on Workers' Memorial Day. And E, the supplemental in support of increased accessible widespread testing of COVID-19, along with claims under 4.
Support.
Great. Moved and supported. I'll just pull each one of these up for discussion to see if there are comments. The first one, the resolution to accept the offer for excess insurance coverage for workers' disability compensation. Is there any discussion or comment on that? Okay, seeing none. Next is a resolution approving the employment contract with Washtenaw County Corporation Counsel Michelle Billard. Any questions or comments on that? Okay, seeing none. A resolution to place the question of a 6-year 0.02 mil levy to fund the operations of the Washtenaw County Conservation District on the August 4th primary election ballot. Any questions or comments on that? Okay, seeing none. Resolution approving the 2020 equalization report. Okay. Resolution recognizing the Interfaith Roundtable of Washtenaw County for 25 years of service to the community. That is a resolution that I asked us to do. So I just want to note, I won't read the whole thing, but I'll read sort of the therefore be it resolved. Is simply that the Washtenaw County Board of Commissioners hereby recognizes the Interfaith Roundtable of Washtenaw County for 25 years of continued efforts to create a culture of understanding and inclusion in and around Washtenaw County, and congratulates Reverend Lembrides and Dr. King on their service to the organization and to the larger Washtenaw County community. So they are doing amazing work in our community, and they have been for 25 years, and we appreciate them. Any other questions or comments on that? Okay, seeing none. The next one is a resolution supporting relief for local farmers through the CARES Act and authorizing a letter from the Board of Commissioners to Washtenaw County's federal legislators expressing that support. Would anyone like to say anything about that? I think Commissioner Schenk may be frozen.
Oh,
Commissioner
dear.
Schenk.
If you can hear me, I thank you, Chair. I wanted to say that this resolution was brought to us, and we worked with the Washtenaw County Food Policy Council to have this as a resolution today. And Jason Machieski joins me in seeking support for the farmers in our community.
Thank you. So then we will keep moving here to resolution in honor of former Washtenaw County Sheriff Thomas Richard Minnick. And I know former Sheriff Minnick's family is on the video here. This original request came from our dear friend Kirk Prophet, who we all know and love. And I do just want to read some of this resolution for folks to certainly appreciate his family for taking the time to be with us tonight. So this is a resolution in honor of Thomas Richard Minnick from the Washtenaw County Board of Commissioners. Whereas Thomas Richard Minnick was born May 9th, 1940 at St. Joseph Hospital in Ann Arbor, whereas Minnick attended elementary school at Immaculate Inception in Milan, Michigan, where he became a standout football player. And whereas Thomas Minnick attended St. Thomas High School in Ann Arbor from 1953 to 1957, during which time, in addition to playing and coaching football, he enlisted in the United States Marine Corps Reserves. And whereas upon high school graduation, Minnick enlisted full-time as a member of the U.S. Marine Corps, undergoing basic training at Parris Island, South Carolina. And whereas upon graduation from basic training, he earned the coveted Outstanding Marine Award, an honor of which he was very proud. He was honorably discharged from the U.S. Marine Corps in 1960, whereas he joined the Ann Arbor Police Department in 1961, quickly advancing to the rank of captain before retiring with 28 years of service to the department. And whereas Thomas Richard Minnick ran for Washtenaw County Sheriff in 1976 at the age of 35, and whereas he successfully served 2 terms as Washtenaw County Sheriff, implementing policies and strategies that are still in effect today, under his leadership, included in his creative and innovative initiatives were the following. He established the community work release program, allowing for the jail to be used as a revenue center and county inmates to receive earlier release from incarceration. Developed and implemented progressive mental health protocols to provide better treatment of mental health care recipients. Developed and implemented domestic violence response protocols that provide a better protection of domestic violence victims and swift and sure criminal justice responses to offenders. Developed and implemented employee training, recruitment, and promotion policy and procedure, achieving employee and command staff that reflected the county's diversity. Implemented an aggressive approach to drunk driving enforcement through liquor license training, licensee training, and innovative law enforcement policy and procedure. Developed the first command-regulated policy-based approach to high-speed pursuit and use of deadly force. Provided for the orderly transition from the outdated county jail on Ann Street in the city of Ann Arbor to the current correction center on Hogback Road in Pittsfield Township. Expanded law enforcement availability throughout the county through the creative use of expanded contracting with local units of government. Brought statewide recognition to Washtenaw County, not only through these programs and initiatives, but by the department-wide employee engagement and police Olympics, in which the Washtenaw County Sheriff Department achieved unparalleled athletic success against law enforcement competitors across the state. And lastly, and locally through the Washtenaw County Sheriff Department football team, was undefeated in the annual fundraiser football game with fierce competition from Michigan State Police. So whereas Thomas Minnick passed away November 12, 2019, surrounded by family and friends, Thomas Minnick is survived by his soulmate and wife of 59 years, Polly, 3 sons and 7 grandchildren. And Thomas Minnick is remembered fondly by friends as a fair and professional coach, law enforcement officer, and mentor who took a disciplined, no-nonsense approach to life and service. Now therefore be it resolved, the Washtenaw County Board of Commissioners hereby honors former Sheriff Thomas Richard Minnick for his lifetime of service to Ann Arbor and the Washtenaw County community. Thank you for taking the time to let me read that. Thomas Minnick had an extraordinary career in life and commitment to Washtenaw County. So thank you very much to the Minnick family who's watching tonight, and to our dear friend Kirk Prophet for helping make sure that we are honoring him through this work at the county. Are there any other comments or thoughts on that? Okay.
Just thank you for reading it all, Chair. I'm sorry, it's Ricky. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
thank you for reading it all. It's worth it. Yeah. Thank you.
We don't always read every resolution, but I think it is certainly an amazing resolution honoring the life of service that he lived. So sounds like he was certainly an amazing individual. Okay, thank you all very much. Next, we have the supplemental. This is a resolution recognizing Workers' Memorial Day.
Is Jason frozen?
I think we lost the chair.
Yeah. We'll give him a minute.
I think if Jason freezes, does Ricky, do you need to step in?
Well, let me find my agenda again. I just lost my agenda.
All right, I think I'm back.
He's back,
There
he's
you go.
back.
There
Saved by
you
the
go.
bell.
I mean, whoever cut me off, I agree with you. I've been talking way too long.
All right, Chair.
So I'll just say that this was a request that was brought to us. This is it's a resolution to honor our workers in our community. I think the other day I heard Congresswoman Dingell on a call say something that I think struck a chord with me. She said, we're all relying on people that just a couple months ago, many people didn't think deserved a $15 minimum wage. And they are keeping our economy going, keeping people fed, and keeping us healthy. So I think it is really a more important time than ever to honor the workers that we've lost through work injuries and unfortunately death. So this is a resolution honoring our workers. Any other thoughts or comments on that item? Okay, I will keep us going. The second item as a supplemental is a resolution in support of increased accessible widespread testing of COVID-19. Commissioner Shink, do you want to say anything about this resolution?
Yes, thank you, Chair. The resolution is to encourage particularly the federal government, who seems to be controlling the outflow of testing materials, to send more tests just our communities where people are being disproportionately affected by COVID-19. I think everybody is very aware of the health department statistics that people who live in the 48197, 48198 zip codes, and particularly people of color, are extraordinarily overly represented among the people suffering from COVID-19 and from dying from it. And so I know that many people, particularly Commissioner Ricky Jefferson, have been working very hard with county staff to do whatever we can to support people during this time. And this was just one more piece of that. I asked our health department director, Jimena Loveluck, to look at it, as well as our equity officer, Elise Asbury Payne. And so we have their support in this. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Shink, for writing this up, or helping write this up. Are there any other thoughts or comments on that? Okay. Commissioner Barr, forgive me, did you also move the approval of claims in your move?
I did, yes.
Perfect. Okay, thank you. With that, if there are no other comments on any of these items, Edwin, could you call the roll, please?
Sure. Commissioner Brayback,
Yes.
Commissioner Jamnick,
Yes.
Commissioner Jefferson,
Yes.
Commissioner Labar,
Yes.
Commissioner Maciejewski,
Yes.
Commissioner Morgan,
Yes.
Commissioner Scott,
Yes.
Commissioner Shink,
Yes.
Commissioner Beaman.
Yes.
Resolution's passed.
Great. Thank you all. Next up, report from the county administrator, Greg.
Yeah. Thank you, Chair. I do want to make the board aware that we are adding to our list of to-dos a framework for reopening county buildings. As you all know, that I've repeatedly said that we did not close county government. Now we're looking at what it looks like to phase our reopen of county government, thinking about what it will take to make that a reality, working with our department heads and elected officials, as well as our labor partners, to come up with a framework that makes sense for our organization and our community. We'll continue that work, beginning with meetings with those various units tomorrow morning, and have something for you all to look at and react to in the coming days. In addition to that, you all will have to take some action to cancel your emergency declaration if you so choose. that will require a vote, I believe, of this body again. I'll look to Corporation Counsel to weigh in on that, but I do believe you all will have to take some action. It is our goal to make sure that we continue to provide the very best service to our residents and our community, making sure that we continue the solid, strong values of Washtenaw County. How we do that, following the best science and social distancing guidelines, is what we're working on next. So we just want to say again, a heartfelt thank you to not only the Board of Commissioners, but the 1,400 employees of the organization for their work. I think we will come out of this better as a community. I said that on a call with one of our community partners the other day. If there's any silver lining to any of this, it is that I believe we'll be better as a community as we move forward. So thank you. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Greg. And so I'll move right into the report of the chair. And it's really building on Greg's. We've had conversation about what exactly we need to do to end our state of emergency for the county. So we may, I think we're waiting on the governor to determine certainly what she's going to be doing and what the legislature allows her to do in terms of an extension of her order.
Right.
Her order expires, I believe, April 30th, her authority does.
Correct.
So we're waiting to see what happens there. And I think the goal would be to time ours with that. It seems like we have a meeting just a few days after that, the following Wednesday. So ideally we could end our emergency order then if that's what we determine we want to do. But there's a slight potential that we may need to do some sort of special meeting to do that if we need to do it sooner. It would be my hope that we could just do it at that next meeting in May. But we'll figure that out and we'll keep everybody posted on what we find out. That concludes, Commissioner Scott.
I have a question. Just because the governor ends the emergency order, does that necessarily mean that we would have to end ours? I am concerned that April 30th is a premature reopening of the state and probably of services as well. I know it places a great burden on our community, but certain reports that I have read have indicated that it may not be entirely safe to have everything reopen until we have either an effective way to treat COVID or a vaccine. And so I don't want to just assume that we're going to totally reopen just because the governor reopens the state, if that's not the best thing to do in terms of public health.
Thank you. And I actually would agree with you 100%. There was some thought to having a resolution tonight that would set a date to end our emergency order, but I'm hopeful that the governor and legislature will work out a way to extend that beyond April 30th. I think it sounds like the legislature wants to negotiate with her in terms of what that actually means. I think if it were up to the governor, she'd extend this quite a long ways down the road. And it would be my hope that we would do that as well. So we could certainly keep ours going longer. That's a decision that we can make as a board. The one thing I have heard a lot of folks share concern about is what our local requirements are. So I would like to see if we don't have, if the governor doesn't require the use of face covering or masks when out in public in her next steps, I would certainly like us to consider that. That's obviously up to Jimena, who I think is on this, but it's up to Jimena ultimately what we do as our public health officer. But I would like to see us consider that as a step if we do something different than the state.
Can I follow up? I agree with you about face covering and masks and would certainly look for the advice from Jimena Lovelock about that. But I think that the policy decision, I'd like to understand if we can make a policy decision on that, but about face covering, and maybe I'll look to Michelle to give us some guidance, not right now, but in coming up for the next couple of weeks, whether that directive about people in public wearing a mask has to be a directive from the director of public health, or it can be a policy decision that the Board of Commissioners makes. And that I think will help us determine which way to go with that, because at the minimum, that's what I'd like to see going forward. And so it will be helpful to know who has to make that decision or who can make that decision. Thank you.
Yes, I mean, I would, honestly, I'd rather us just implement that now. I think it's important that we have people covering their face when they're out in public indoors anyway. But I respect the authority of our public health officer to make that call. But yes, so let's have some conversations after this and figure out what we want to do as a community. I think we can certainly keep that order going longer if we need to. My hope would be that we could certainly keep people working from home as much as possible. I obviously defer to Greg and admin on that recommendation, but I think it seems like there's a lot of consensus around keeping people home as long as possible while still continuing the work of serving our residents. Cool. Okay, so we will move to items for current or future discussion. Are there any items for current or future discussion? Oh, Commissioner Jefferson. Sorry, when you raised your hand, it disappeared into your map.
You're right. I saw that. Thanks, Chair. Good looking out. Just to talk about the Senate passing the new bill for $350 billion for small businesses and nonprofits. There is an organization within the state that deals with the support of those businesses who want to apply to make sure that they get that funding and help them with counselors in the area that they have here to determine how to spend that in the best ways. And also, if they are going to reopen, to give them advice on how to deal with the social distancing and those type of things. They are at sbdcmichigan.org. They've been around for quite a while. Their counselors are in every area of Michigan. So you would have to go to that website and find out who was in this area that you would speak to, so that you can get some support on filing for those grants and loans. They said that it's best to go ahead and call your lending organization right now before the loans come out and the grants come out, so that you can get in line to find out if they will work with you or not, because there had been some problems with people getting into the portal and also phone calls. There had been some problems with that. So they're there to help you with those kind of things. That has been something that some of our businesses in the area, especially the Ypsilanti area, have been concerned about. So that help is out there, and it's very important, because a lot of our businesses are definitely looking for a reopening as soon as they possibly can, but this group will help you do that in the most safest manner. Yeah, so we definitely need to find out how to move forward in this business area, because the economy is like we said earlier, as if it's being affected, and it's going to have an effect on our revenues for next year. So we thank them for trying to help out. So you got to get on that now, because there are some who signed up for the last round who didn't make it, and they may be in the queue, and you need to find out if you are in the queue. So that's something that I was talking about today with some people. So, and also the 48197, 48198 area has been really helped by the public health department, Administrator Deal, Elise, who has been our racial equity officer, has been really moving forward with that. We've been asking people to call us in that area to find out what needs are in homes, in apartment complexes, of supplies that they may need. And we've been coming to those places and finding out that there's a huge need for cleaning supplies, soap. We talk about washing your hands. People need soap. dish detergent, laundry detergent, bleach, those type of things, cloth masks for PPE and those type of things. So those are some of the things that I'm glad we're trying to, with this resolution, encourage the federal government and the state to help get more testing in those areas. The public health is talking about that right now. That is something that may be happening within a few days, a few weeks. That conversation is going on. So I'm looking forward to finding more testing areas within that zone, because it's been, as it said, a highly infectious area. So I've had to talk with people who are in the area. They call Elise Ashbury Payne so that she can get them on the list if there's anything that they need, and we can find the proper organization to lead them to. So I want to know that people can do that. So thanks for letting me, Chair.
Thank you. I was not aware of that resource for small businesses, so that's certainly very helpful. Commissioner Beaman.
I just want to thank Ricky for also saying that. I am a former SBDC consultant, so I know Ron Stevens and Charlie Penner very well, who serve our area, and they are definitely a great resource, and I'm happy to help anyone get in touch with them and just share my knowledge as well of the system. I was an SBDC consultant during the Great Recession, so this is a very familiar territory for me.
Great, thank you. I know I've heard through my day job a lot of businesses struggling to make that program work. And it ran out of money this past week. So hopefully this new round of money that they will approve, that Congress will approve tomorrow, will help a lot of those businesses. I know there have been a lot of issues with it. So hopefully that will help. And actually, Ricky, you reminded me of one other item that I meant to mention. The governor has created a Michigan coronavirus community. It's a task force to address racial inequities in regard to COVID-19. The governor's office called me on Friday and asked if I would give them a staff designee for a stakeholder group to work with that statewide task force. And so I connected Elise Asbury Payne with them, and Elise is going to be serving as our Washtenaw County representative on that statewide stakeholder group to help make sure that we are not only influencing policy in Washtenaw County, but hopefully influencing policy for the better statewide in regard to racial equity as it relates to COVID-19. I think as several people mentioned, this is certainly a huge issue within our county and within our state. So I'm glad that we'll have Elise working with the governor's office on that. Great. Any other items for current or future discussion? Commissioner LaBarre.
Just a real quick thank you to our public health team with these protests that have just magically sprung up. I just want to thank our public health workers for what they're doing and for keeping us safe.
Thanks. And I think we certainly all agree and echo that. Thank you, Jimena, and your team. I was curious if Commissioner LaBarre was going to share comments from Mr. Declan LaBarre, who we saw for a brief second, but disappointingly, we did not see that. Are there any other items for current or future discussion? Commissioner Schenk.
Thank you. I'm sorry I don't have the great sound effects, although I think last meeting I did have some. I want to thank all of the staff at Washtenaw for the hard they're doing, especially some of the people who are doing jobs that are specifically COVID-19 related. Some of them are doing work that is not their usual line of work. And as far as I can tell from my frequent questions and communications, that they're doing it with good cheer and great energy. And so I appreciate it very much. It's really important that government serve the people, and we are to the best of our ability, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Great. Are there any other items for current or future discussion? Okay, seeing none, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Support.
Support.
Moved and supported. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, we're adjourned. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank
Chair.
you, everyone.
Thank
Stay
you.
Good night, everybody. Be safe.
Night.